Morning everyone and welcome to another Motion webinar in the Fluid Power series. My name is Paul Cavicchiolo and I'm the Category Manager for Hydraulic Hose and Connectors for Motion in the Asia Pacific region. I've over 20 years of experience in the hydraulic industry, including design, manufacture, application engineering and product management. Today we bring you information on the Gates X Series hydraulic hose range, an exciting new generation of high-performance hydraulic hoses designed and developed by our key partner, Gates Corporation. I will now hand over to Arshad Ashraf, Product Manager for Industrial Fluid Power at Gates Australia, who will be presenting this webinar. Arshad has been a key member of the Gates team for many years and comes with a strong background in product and project engineering within oil and gas and fluid power sectors. Welcome, Arshad.
Thank you, Paul.
First of all, the Q&A panel is open and ready to ask questions. So the first step, if you would like to do so, is select the Q&A icon at the top of the panel in the Teams. Type your name with a chance to win some prizes along the way. Your post is anonymous, and also select ask a question at the bottom of the panel and type your question in should you have a question, and then hit send. So thank you for your time, and we'll move to Arshad. Thank you.
Morning all. So yeah, like Paul said, my name is Arshad. I work for Gates Corporation, looking after hydraulic hoses and fittings. So today's session, this webinar is all about our innovative range of hydraulic hoses, which we name it as X Series hose, which falls under the wider range of Gates Mega 6 range of products. So this X Series range of hoses comes with a lot of features and benefits. So in the coming few slides, let's look at the market need for such features and benefits. So what does these features and benefit offers to you and your customer? So these hoses comes with a lot of features and benefits, like that's more flexible, it's thinner RD, like it's more compact, it's takes only like lesser force to bend, and in consolidating your inventory. So let's go through some of those benefit that it offers to you and your customer. So less force to bend. Less force to bend means like less force required in routing hoses, which means that getting your installation right the first time. So easier to route during installation means that it offers more ergonomics, which is like reduced fatigue and strain during installation, which in turn like increases the productivity. So which also leads to fewer lost time incidents, and also like I said, better ergonomics. So when it speeds up assembly time, which contributes towards like increasing the productivity, which in terms like less time, like so you are being more efficient, so less money is being spent there. So and the hoses comes with smaller bend radius, which means and includes flexibility, which means you're using less hose, which is in terms is like a savings. So, and also like more flexible hose allows real packaging for easier handling and storage. So some of the traditional spiral hoses, if you look at it, like this cannot be put on a reel because the hose is still very stiff. So our new range of X Series hoses is like with this flexibility that it offers, it allows it to be like packaged on reels, which in turn like allows it to be like better storage and handling capabilities. One of the examples from one of our customers, like 3/4 inch MXG 5K hose, which is one of our XTG's range of hose, was installed during a field trial, and one of the operator was able to install the hose on their own. Previously, with the legacy 5K of spiral hoses, which was very stiff, it required two operators to install the hose in the same application. So if you look at it, it's reduced labor and reduced time. So in turn, it's saving costs for you and your customer. So moving on to the next slide. Weight reduction, which is really critical these days with customers like and OEMs going electrification and fewer carbon footprints. Weight reduction is really critical. So these new range of hoses offers significant weight reduction when compared to the traditional hoses. So what does the customer actually benefit from the weight reduction? So weight reduction means like reduced weight of equipment weight. So like I said, like multiple OEMs globally have this weight reduction targets. And when it comes to weight reduction, it comes with improved fuel efficiency. So you are in term like spending less money on fuel. It reduces overall equipment weight for shipping purposes. And also when it comes to like the material handling in the distribution centers, it is much easier with reduced weight. So lightweight also improves economics for repetitive lifting. So if you ask like a picker in your warehouse who's actually repetitively lifting these heavy hoses, it would he would tell like, yeah, this X-series range of hose is a lot easier to deal with compared to the traditional hoses. Also, when it comes to the freight cost, the freighting companies charge us by the weight of the product. So lower weight means less money on shipping. So lower freight costs for distributors shipping bulk hoses. So just give you an indication like how much weight like a typical equipment would carry. So 30 meters of half-inch 2Y braid hose weighs as much as 23 kilograms. For example, like bulldozers have about like 30 to 60 meters of 2Y braid hose, and elevator work platforms have about like 120 meters of 2Y braid hoses. So you can just imagine like the weight this piece of equipment carry. So reducing those weight even by like 20 to 30% is like significant saving in weight and which in turn is like saving you money because it's improving the efficiency of the equipment. You're spending less money on fuel and shipping cost. Moving on to the next slide. So compact dimension. So this new range of hoses comes with thinner outside diameters. So what is the customer benefits of compact dimensions? So hose with compact OD hoses, there could be the hoses that fit where other hoses won't. It's easier to fit in tight spaces in certain application where it's really tight spaces to deal with. So these hoses would really, with its flexibility and thinner OD, it would be really easy to fit in those tight spaces. And more hose can fit in the cable trays and more space in the hydraulic system for other components. So you're using only like less hoses because of this improved MBR and the flexibility. You are basically using less hoses, and the overall system would appear much neater and cleaner in appearance when compared to using the traditional hoses. And it reduces overall footprint of the hydraulic system. You could get more hose on a reel, and the important factor is like use a larger size hose in the same space, which leads to more fluid flow and which gives you more power. A typical example would be like small OD hose means a 1-inch compact hose can be used where only a 3/4-inch standard thickness hose would fit. So larger ID allows higher flow rates. Higher flow rate means increased power for your equipment. So moving on. So this is another important benefit that comes with our X series hose, which is a skew reduction. So our X series range of hoses basically is certified and meets various SAE specs. For example, like with our X series hose, with our MXT hose, for example, you could reduce your skews from 21 gauge hoses to 6 skews. So for example, like you'll be carrying in your hose fan a typical, like a traditional, let's say 100 R2 hose, you'll be carrying R16 hose and R17 and R19. But with our X series hose, you could reduce that down to one single, like a single range of hose. That's the X series hose. So MXT is in the coming slides we'll discuss that in detail. So with MXT, MXG, and MXG 4K and Parquet, which will give you an opportunity to actually carry less hosts than you actually require. So you can carry one single host instead of carrying 6 different type of hosts. So this is really beneficial when it comes to like mobile hosts, and where the space is very limited, and also like you'll be looking at saving some weight when it comes to your host minus. So this is X series range of hosts actually offers that benefit. Moving on. All right, so let's move on to the actual product now. So the MXT XTP. So next slide. So introducing MXT with the extra tough plus cover, which we call the XTP cover. So Gates introduced the MXT hosts long time ago, like I think it was back in 2018 when we actually introduced MXT, which came with the standard cover as offered. So we didn't have the XTP cover back then. So what is all this XTP cover? I'll come into the XTP cover in a bit. So let's go through all the features and benefits the MXT offers. So it is, why is it innovative? So how does it compare to a traditional SA100 R2 host? So let's talk about a little bit about that. So MXT XTP host, it meets all the performance criteria of a SA100 R2 host. But is it a two-wire braided host? No, it is not. We call it integrated two-wire. But in saying that, it's not a one-wire host either. So comparing that to a SA100 R2 host, our MXT host, which is an R16 host, meet all the performance criteria of an SA100 R2 host, and it has more wire, or it has like equal or even more wire in it compared to an SA100 R2 host. So how did Gates do it? So it's all like material science, like innovative material science. So we use like thinner wire gauge and high tensile strength wire. So when we compared it to a traditional SA100 R2 host, where you got like 2 layers of braided wire and with a rubber strip running in between. So what we did is like we integrated that 2 layers of wire into one single braid pack, and with even more wire in it. So like I said, we used higher tensile strength material, thinner, smaller gauge wire, and lighter in weight material. So that's made it, with that technology, we came up with the MXT XTP host, so which offers 40% lower force to bend compared to a traditional host, 30% lighter in weight, and 8% more compact. So like I mentioned earlier, it consolidates your inventory. So let's look at some of the specifications of this MXT XTP host. So this is tested to 3 times the impulse cycle criteria. So they say 100 R2 calls for like 200,000 impulse cycles. So we tested our host, our MXT XTP host, to 600,000 impulse cycles. So coupling qualification, which is really important. So our MXT XTP and our traditional MXT host is qualified with our mega crimp, which is a one-piece coupling, or we call it as a G coupling, and also the global spiral range, which is our 2-piece GS coupling, and also the Gates stainless steel range of coupling. So all the sizes which is available, MXT XTP is available in -4 to -16, is qualified with all this coupling that I've mentioned. So which gives you actually the flexibility. You have the choice of 1-piece or 2-piece or even the stainless steel range. So let's look at the specifications. So like I said, it meets all the MXT XTP meets all the requirements of SA100 R16 and ISO 1127237 R16 requirements. It meets SA100 R17 up to 3/4 inch, and SA100 R19 in sizes -4 to -8. And all the sizes meets the performance criteria of SA100 R2 and ISO 14362SN. And more importantly, in Australia, where we have the fast rating, which is really important, so it it's certified across all the sizes. It is certified for MDG 41 FRAS and also meets the MSHA flame resistance criteria. So in Australia, we carry both the MXT in both the ranges with both the covers. Like we also carry MXT that's with standard cover stock in sizes -4 to -16, and also with the XTP cover. So let's talk about a little bit about the XTP cover. What does it offer? So XTP stands for Extra Tough Plus. So which is compared to the standard cover, it offers like 25 times more wearing resistance, and also the plus factor, which is the protection to the ozone. So what does ozone does to your hose? Let's look at it. So moving on to the next slide. So this is from our actual test that we conducted in our laboratories back in the US. So what does ozone does to the rubber hose? So it is an ozone gas. It actually attacks the rubber and creates cracking in them. So when the hose rubber is cracked, it exposes the reinforcement, which could lead to the hose failure. So we got this P factored into the XTP plus cover, so which actually protects the hose from the ozone gas. So moving on, let's look at the abrasion resistance of the XTP cover. So this is the actual testing that we did to validate the abrasion resistance of our XT Extra Tough Plus cover. So gauge standard versus competitor abrasion resistant cover. So let's look at where Extra Tough Plus cover sits. So it's sitting at 0.011 gram losses per 2000 cycles. So these abrasion testings were performed as per the ISO 69445 standards with 25 Newton force. So that's the standard we test all our abrasion resistance against. So lower the number is the better. So you can see from the graph there where Extra Tough Plus cover sits. So it's sitting at the lowest value there. So how does it compare against our traditional standard spiral cover and also our standard gauge standard NBR cover? So it's like I said, it offers like a 25 times better wear resistance than our standard cover. So if you look at the standard Y spiral cover, so which all our standard spiral hoses come with spiral wraps, whereas all of our X series hoses come with Extra Tough Plus, which is a smooth cover. So visually, the spiral wraps looks more abrasion resistant and everything, but the testing proves, which is not the case. Our smooth cover Extra Tough Plus offers more wear resistance than our standard Y spiral cover. So moving on. So let's look at our MegaCrim range of coupling combined with our MXT XTP hose. So this is like a match system. So our MXT XTP hose is designed to work with our MegaCrim and also our GS and stainless range of couplings. So with MXT with MegaCrim, it offers a leak-free system. So what does MegaCrim offers you? So it offers the wire technology, as you can see there. The C insert there bites into the wire of the hose itself, and the coupling retention is much better when you use MXT with the MegaCrim combination. So what does C insert does? So C insert, so like the main feature that C insert can offer is it stays round when you actually crimp the coupling. So when I say it stays round, so if you look at the coupling when it's crimped, with the MegaCrim coupling, the outside of the coupling takes the shapes of the die, but whereas the C insert stays round in the shape of the hose itself. So there is no leaking point. So if you look at our competitors coupling, you can see those once it's crimped, you can see the weak points. So there could be like potential failures there. So with MegaCrim coupling combined with MXT or MXT XTP hose, it provides a leak-proof system. So Gates megacrim coupling designed to work together with our Gates MXT or MXT XTP host here. Moving on to the next slide. So let's look at some of the successes that we had with our MXT XTP houses. So this is one of the success stories, recent success that we had with this house. So what industries is road transport, truck trailer. So what problem the customer was experiencing prior to using our MXT XTP host? So the customer was using old style, heavier, more rigid SA100R2 host. So they were looking at product that could actually save them some weight and have more flexibility on the moving part. So they switched to our MXT XTP product. So switching to the MXT XTP product, what did they actually gain from it? They saved significant, they had like significant weight savings, and also with the with the easier routing and the flexibility. So they actually loved that feature of MXT XTP. And also like this application here have a lot of moving parts. So they eliminated the hose failures due to bending and flexing. So with with like I mentioned earlier, MXT XTP offers extra flexibility. So when it comes to a lot of bending and flexing, there's been like less chances of failure with MXT XTP. Moving on. In oil and gas, so the next success story that we had is with the oil and gas industry, which is a top drive system for oil rig. So the issues the customer experiencing there was the issues with ozone, like cover cracking. So what did MXT, like I mentioned earlier, so MXT XTP comes with a P factor, which offers the extra added on ozone resistance. So and the customer also benefited from lighter weight construction of MXT XTP hose. So looking at the top drive there, you can see like hundreds of meters of hose, hydraulic hose running through there. So you could just imagine the weight savings that MXT XTP or MXG range of hoses could offer. Moving on. So the next success is in the logistics industry. So marine port. The application was shipped to shore crane, container locking spreader. So the problem was like mixed, so unmatched system. Like I said earlier, like Gates hoses always designed to work with Gates coupling. So the customers are having issues with mixed coupling, like for example, like manufacturer hose was from manufacturer A and coupling from manufacturer B, and someone decided to put it together and there were leaks happening. So they switched to MXT XTP and with a match system, like I said, so which is leak-free match solution with megacrim coupling, and it came with all the features and benefit like flexibility and easier to routing and everything. So utilize sizes from -6 through -16 with match Gates coupling to replace the imported hose that leaked every 2 months. Moving on. So MXT XTP is faster to route. On average, MXT is 6-second faster route per assembly than conventional 2-wire hose assembly. So this can be attributed to MXT XTP being lighter weight and highly flexible. So considering some equipment have over 100 assembly installed, so cost saving can quickly add up. So moving on to the next slide. So let's have a Q&A session here on the MXT XTP. So let's how well you know the product. So the first question here is like, what does P stand for in the Gates XTP car? Option A, resistance to heat. Option B, resistance to ozone. Option C, all of the above. So I'll give you a few seconds to answer this. You can pop your answers in the chat box there, and I'll pause for a few seconds, give you an opportunity to answer this question before we move on to the next one. All right, so the correct answer for this is resistance to ozone, option B. So next question here, how many cars are offered in Gates MXT hydraulic hose range? Option A, standard car. Option B, standard car MTF, which is mega tough car, and XTP car. Option C, standard car and XTP car. All right, the answer for this one is standard car and XTP, which is our extra tough plus car. Right, let's move on to the next range of hose as we offer in the X series family, so which is the MXG 4K hydraulic hose. So our MXG 4K hydraulic hose is a drop-in replacement for our traditional spiral EFG 4K hoses. So what features and benefit it offers when it compares to the traditional hose? So it's 40% lower force to bend and 30% lighter in weight and 8% more compact. So like I mentioned in the earlier slides, it also consolidates your inventory. And unlike the MXT range of hoses where it was offered in standard car and the XTP car, with MXG 4K, it just comes in standard with the XTP car as standard. So let's go a little bit into MXG 4K details. So its impulse performance matches the existing EFG 4K, that is 1 million impulse cycles at 133% of working pressure at 121 degrees Celsius and the same minimum bend radius. MXG 4K is qualified with global spiral, which is our two-piece range of coupling to 1 million impulse cycle, and some certain sizes are also qualified with our megacrim couplings in sizes -6 to -12, but that only is qualified up to 600,000 impulse cycles. So again, MXG 4K from size -6 to -16 is 1 million impulse cycles with our GS couplings, but with our megacrim one-piece coupling, it's from -6 to -12. It is 600,000 impulse cycles. But again, that gives you that option of that one-piece coupling in that particular range of sizes. Available in sizes -6, 8, 10, 12, and 16, all available in stock, ex-Melbourne. And MXG 4K has smooth cover as standard, smooth, which is our XTP plus cover. So what specification it meets? It meets all the specifications of an ISO 18752 to ATDC spec, and more importantly, it meets all these performance criteria as required by the SAE 100 R12 hose. And also it meets all the EN 856 R12 and also the ISO 3862 R12 criteria. Moving on. So where does MXG sit? So where MXG is the same as the EFG 4K and how they compare to the industry standard. So MXG 4K and our traditional spiral hose, which is our EFG 4K, have the same MBRs. It comes with the same bend radius. And working pressure wise, it meets the same 280 bar, which ticks all the SA 100 R12 and the ISO standard boxes. And when it comes to impulse cycle, it's 1 million, same as our EFG 4K, which is 1 million, whereas the SA 100 R12 requirement calls out for only like 400,000 impulse cycles, whereas we have texted our MXG 4K to 1 million impulse cycle with our GS couplings. when it comes to impulse test pressure, it's 133% of the working pressure, which meets all the specifications requirements. Next slide. So MXG's 4K specification comparison. So in this scenario, it offers this, comes with smaller outside diameter, which fits into tight spaces, and also it offers weight savings. So smaller RD is the result of material science. And it utilizes our patented X-Power technology, which I'll touch on in the coming slides, and advanced rubber technology, which made that smaller RD possible. So with smaller RD, it could fit in like tighter spaces where other hoses wouldn't fit. I've actually touched on that in the previous slide, so I'm not going into details here. So how does it compare with our traditional EFG 4K hose? So you can see in that table there, it offers significant reduction when it comes to our outside diameter of the hose across all the sizes that we offer in that range, and also significant weight savings when compared to our traditional EFG 4K hoses. Moving on. This is another important feature or the important benefit that we offer with our MXG 4K and 5K hoses, which is the flexibility and easier to route. So more importantly, the force to bend factor here. So force to bend means it is easier to route. That is easy on the actual person who's actually working on the hose. So you can see the improvement, the force to bend, which is listed in pounds there. So the percentages, that is the percentage of flexibility it offers over EFG 4K. So it's actually overall MXG 4K is 40% more flexible than our traditional EFG 4K hose. Moving on. So to summarize, our MXG 4K is 40% more. It requires only 40% lower force to bend, and it offers like 30% lighter weight compared to our traditional hoses. And overall, it is 8% more compact, and it offers 25 times more abrasion resistance. Moving on. So let's look at a few MXG 4K success stories. So drilled rigs. So this is one of the recent success we had with our MXG 4K hose. So this is a drilling rig. So what did the customer like about MXG 4K hose? So the competitor hose was like weeps. It was weeping in the application in the drill rig. So potential cause could have been from the lack of flexibility in the application. So we replaced that with a 1-inch MXG 4K XTP hose, which exceeded the expectation of our customers, which with its flexibility and ease to use. So the performance of hose showed no weeps in comparison to the replaced competitor's spiral hose. So basically, what we replaced was a competitor's spiral hose was replaced with our 16 MXG 4K XTP hose. So the next success was a top hammer drill. So the industry was an underground mining type of equipment, was a top hammer drill. So what they liked was like, so the cause of failure was due to abrasion, like hoses rubbing against each other. So the average life of the old hose was like 35 to 40 days due to abrasion on the car. But Gates MXG 4K hose with XTP car lasted more than 120 days and is still operating. So this same customer is also exploring use of other MXG 4K in other applications. So moving on now, so let's do a little bit of Q&A on this hose. So question 1, up to how much lighter is MXG 4K compared to traditional voice power hose? I'll give you a few seconds before I move on. So option A, 50% lighter weight. Option B, 30% lighter weight. Option C, 20% lighter weight. Right, the correct answer here is option B, 30% lighter weight compared to the traditional horsepower hose. Next question is, what sizes is the Gates MXG 4K hydraulic hoses available in? Option A, 1/4 inch to 1 inch. Option B, 3/8 inch to 2 inch. Option C, 3/8 inch to 1 inch. Right, the correct answer here is option C, 3/8 to 1 inch. Right, moving on to the next range in the X Series family, which is our MXG 5K hose. Right, so on the back of MX, on the success that we have with MXG 4K hose, we then Gates went on to launch the MXG 5K hose, which is a 5,000 PSI rated hose. So what features and benefit these hoses offer when compared to the traditional wire spiral hose? So it is like it only requires 25% lower force to bend. It is 20% lighter in weight and 5% more compact. Again, it consolidates your inventory, and MXG 5K comes standard with the XTP cover. So let's go into some of the features. So with impulse performance wise, it is again rated to 1 million impulse cycle at 133% of the working pressure at 121 degrees Celsius, and it offers the same minimum bend radius as our traditional EFG 5K hose. Coupling qualification, MXG 5K is qualified with our GS range of couplings tested to 1 million impulse cycles. And we also got our Mega Crim qualified in a couple of sizes, -6 and -8 only, and tested to 600,000 impulse cycles. And available in sizes -6 to -16. So the good news is, like, initially we only had like -6 to -12 in the MXG 5K range, and it took Gates at least a couple of years to launch -16, and previous one, like last month, we launched -16, and it will be available in stock towards end of December or early January next year. So -16 will be available soon. So that's the good news. MXG 5K, like 4K, it has again got the smooth covers. What specification does it meet? It meets the ISO 18752 350 DC spec, and more importantly, it meets all the requirements of a SA 100 R13 hose. It's also meet the European norm 856 R13 and the ISO 3862 R13 specifications. And -10, 12, and 16 are also rated for EN 8564 SP spec. Moving on. So MXG 4K and MXG 5K. So the construction of the wire in this hose, we call it the X-Spiral technology. So what is what is X-spiral? So X-spiral, you can call it as like a woven spiral. So it has got like more wire in it than compared to a traditional spiral hose, but in a different technology. So we use like higher tensile, super high tensile strength wire in it with thinner gauge, and thinner wire. So which has got, so the X-spiral technology has got like a denser wire pack than compared to a traditional spiral hose. But it comes with all the features and benefit like flexibility, it's lighter in weight, and thinner OD, and and performance-wise, it offers the same as the traditional wire spiral hose. So just make note of the terminology. So it's not a braided hose. We call it X-spiral. So it is a new technology that Gates have developed. Moving on. So how does MXG 5K fits into the Gates portfolio of the other X series hose? So let's compare all the features of all the specification of this X series family. So MXG 5K and 4K, it's X spiral woven spiral wire reinforcement, whereas our MXG XTP is our integrated two wire, which is a braided construction. MXG 5K XTP is rated to 5,075 psi working pressure, and MXG 4K 4,000 psi working pressure, whereas our MXG XTP is a variable pressure hydraulic hose, that is, it varies by sizes. And when it comes to temperature, MXG 5K and 4K is rated to 121 degrees Celsius, and MXG XTP is rated to 100 degrees Celsius. MXG 4K and 5K rated to 1 million impulse cycles with our GS couplings, and MXG XTP rated to 600,000 impulse cycles with both our G and GS couplings. MXG 4K and 5K, it offers the XTP car as standard, which is abrasion resistant, high temperature and ozone resistant car. Whereas with MXT, you got the option of MXT and MXT XTP. So MXT is the standard cover, and MXT XTP comes with the extra tough plus cover. The ley line of the hose is branded with all the specification, all the SAE, ISO, and European norm spec is listed on the ley line of the hose itself, so which makes the identification of the hose or the standard that the hose meets really easier. So you look at the hose, it's right in front of your eyes, which listed on all the spec that the hose meets. So coupling qualification wise, it's MXG 5K and 4K. Qualified with our GS coupling across all the sizes and G coupling in some sizes. Same for MXG 4K XTP, whereas MXT XTP is qualified for all three types of coupling, G, which is our Megacrim one-piece stainless steel, and our global spiral range across all the sizes that we offer. So GS from -6 to 16, because Megacrim, our one piece, is not available as a one piece. And the sizes it offers, MXG 5K and 4K, available in sizes -6 to -16, whereas our MXG XTP is available in sizes -4 to -16. Moving on. So a little bit on the impulse testing of this MXG 5K or even the 4K as a whole. So let's look at the impulse testing. So what actually is impulse testing? So impulse testing, ensuring that hoses undergo impulse testing is one of the most crucial steps involved in evaluating the reliability of the hoses and its durability. So impulse testing involves subjecting the hydraulic hose to repeated pressure cycles, which will be like similar to like simulating the real world operating conditions of pressure spikes and machine cycles. So this test actually evaluates the hose ability to actually withstand those pressure spikes, pulsations, and the pressure reversals that you see in a hydraulic system. So that's impulse testing is all about. So how does MSG5K impulse testing compare to what is required by the SAE 100 R13 requirements? So MSG5K is impulse tested at 133% of the working pressure. MSG5K is pressure rated, the working pressure is 5060 psi, and MSG5K is impulse tested at 6750 psi. So what does the SAE 113 requirement actually calls out for? So SAE 113, it requires a working pressure of 5060 psi, which is 350 bar, which clearly the MSG5K meets. And when it comes to the impulse testing, the SAE 100 R13 only requires a 420 bar or a 6090 psi, whereas our MSG5K is tested at a 465.5 bar or 6750 psi. So in short, MSG5K is impulse tested at 4.5 bar or 660 psi higher than the actual requirement set out by the SAE 100 R13 standard. Moving on. So let's summarize all the features and benefits offered by MSG5K. So it's 25% lower force to bend compared to the traditional voice power hose. It's 20% lighter in weight and 5% more compact. And it offers 25% more abrasion resistant because it comes with the XTP plus cover as standard, and also the P factor, which is the added on ozone resistance. Moving on. So, okay, let's go into some Q&A here. So, question 1. So, what is the maximum pressure rating for the Gates MSG5K hydraulic hose? Option A, 5075 psi. Option B, 6000 psi. And option C, 4000 psi. So, I'll give you a couple of seconds to answer the question. The answer to the first question is option A, 5075 psi. Next question, what construction is used to reinforce Gates MSG5K hydraulic hose? Option A, braided. Option B, X spiral. Option C, spiral. All right, the answer to this question is option B, X spiral. So that brings us to end of this webinar. So thank you for your time. I'll now pass this on to Paul.
Excellent. Thank you, Arshad. We do have a couple of questions in the Q&A. Do they use standard fittings? That might be better served with a response in the mail out with a hose and matched fitting matrix combination table, which we can include. And also another question regarding the empirical data versus competitors in terms of ozone resistance, abrasion resistance, and so forth. Some of that was included in this meeting with the competitor company names redacted, so we can make that kind of data available. I believe you would have that on hand for a case-by-case basis, Arshad.
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
One thing I forgot to mention about the whole X series range, like so outside of the standards and specification that the hose actually meets, like the MSHA and the FRAS, so this X series family also meets the industry specific certification like DNV, ABS, Lloyd's Register. So if any of your customer or end user have that specific requirements, feel free to reach out to Motion or to us. So then we can actually address those by providing the required documentations.
Excellent. Thank you, Arshad. Just wait a little bit for any other further comments or queries. Okay, well, I think if there's no more comments or queries, we'll include. Thank you, Arshad, for the great info you've provided on the X series. Looks like a lot of engineering and development went into those hoses, so well done to Gates. Thanks also to all of you for attending and making this possible, and we hope that you're able to take away some additional knowledge to help you in your daily business activities. If you do require further information, please reach out to the team, as Arshad mentioned, via the contact information you'll be provided after this webinar, or to your local Motion branch and representative. A copy of this webinar will also be available on Motion website's Knowledge Hub and also Motion's YouTube channel as well. And just a reminder that Motion stock a full range of Gates X series hose as shown, and they're available for ordering now. And once again, thank you for your time. And that concludes our webinar.
Thank you.